Welcome to the Lance Wallnau Show. We are back again today, manning the desk here from the command capital in Dallas, Texas, the center of America, the perfect vantage point with the capital behind me, but thankfully I'm not in Washington, D.C. Mercedes Sparks is to my left, the ever-effervescent cryptocurrency queen. She's the one that got me first learning about Bitcoin and crypto, and now I'm totally confused. But I tell you what, the man who has helped me figure things out. You guys know I'm a fan of Steve Bannon, their Meister Zinger over there at the War Room, and so much so that we wanted to get a program following him on Saturday. And I started watching this guy, Phillip Patrick, and he had the most interesting kind of candid conversations about the state of global affairs. And what I found about him, what was curious is, although he's the Birch Gold guy that I go to for insight, he is not salesy. He's actually more like a tutorial on the sober reality of what's happening in the world's economy, which of course you have to do with Peter Navarro and Cortez and Bannon because of their background. But nevertheless, there's education, there's hope, there's strategy, there's insight. And I find the truth always sets you free, even if it's not your favorite news. It's educating you, and you can learn how to respond to the unfolding field of events because you're not caught by surprise. Mercedes Sparks, I see you nodding vigorously.
Yeah, because, we get asked all the time. We talk about Birch Gold quite a bit. I know we've referred lots of people over there. We get asked all the time in the comments, just in-depth questions about why gold and silver is a good investment strategy and a hedge against inflation. You threw in crypto in, but it's like it is an arrow in an arsenal that you should be building. And so I think it's awesome that you have brought him on today, and we can ask all these in-depth questions that you guys have been sending us. So I'm very excited.
And let me re-qualify this, Philip. That as we're bringing you on board, welcome to the show, Phillip Patrick. Mercedes, I call her the cryptocurrency queen, only because as the millennial on my team, she introduced me, she educated me, like she calls me old man every now and then, and she brings me up to date on the world of crypto financing, blockchain, and the potential it has in terms of being a place where value could be stored outside of the collapsing ecosystem of economics. And for that, I'm thankful, but she's not necessarily an advocate.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying tried and true. In the Bible, it's gold and silver.
Yes, and you can't, that's where we have our degrees. Our degrees is in theology, and the degree is on the thermometer right now. It's over 100 in Texas, as everybody's reminding me. Phillip, share with us, and assume that you're talking to people that are in the very beginning stages of understanding the world of economic complexity. I do want to ask you, at some point in this interview, just alert you to it. I see this as a Game of Thrones battle between the interests of Wall Street, the irresponsible spending of politicians that are tanking an economy that could be vigorous. I see the China as the emerging threat, and then I see what's happened with Russia and the EU as destabilizing the euro from its own agenda, from the Davos agenda. I mean, it's a real Game of Thrones going on here. But now we've got this world is fragmenting in its economic systems, largely by Biden's incompetence, driving Russia into bed with China. They're creating their own potential competing mercantile system. It's wild. This is like the Wild West. So with that huge backdrop for my audience, that's where I want to go to. I want to go to the Game of Thrones. Can you help us understand what you see taking place now?
Of course, and it's a lot, and I think that was actually a very, very good summary that you gave. So we found ourselves in a very tough situation here in the United States, certainly economically, politically for sure, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But economically, we've ended up in a tough situation today, and we have clear problems in front of us. We have bubbles in the stock market, which are very clear to see, and slowly we're seeing the air now come out of them. We have inflation and we have currency devaluation. Economically speaking, these are the big issues of the day. Now, how did we get here? I think this is a story of short-term political thinking, of greed. right? We had an economy back in 2008 that had collapsed. We had Obama as president at the time. And I think, he didn't want to deal with an economy that was crumbling. So what he begun was he undertook and started the longest and most aggressive package of fiscal policy that has ever seen before in US history, right? So what did it involve? It involved keeping interest rates low, right? And we did so for over a decade. It involved printing huge amounts of money and pumping it through the markets. And it involved a lot of fiscal manipulation. Now, what this did was it drove the markets up for over a decade. Then we had Biden step in. Now, Biden took over a very hot economy. He took over Trump's economy. But again, continue to do the same things that Obama did. He printed money, he kept interest rates low, huge amounts of COVID stimulus. What it did was created bubbles everywhere. You mentioned crypto that up until recently was at all-time highs, stocks, housing. We were seeing bubbles in strange places, right? Rare whiskey index, women's handbags, luxury watches. It created bubbles everywhere. But what it then did was created the inflationary issue. Now we've put our Federal Reserve in a very tough situation. They need to try and combat inflation. But in order to do so, we're going to see these bubbles start to collapse. So it's a very tough economic situation that we've put ourselves in. And we've removed in the process the tools that the government and the Fed have to combat them. So it's a really tough situation we're in.
So you've summarized this perfectly. We've created this. We've created our own perfect storm, and I get the impression when I listen to them. I remember listening to this one moment when Biden talked about with Putin what they were going to do. It was as though he was celebrating the banking system and the global mercantile system's ability to cripple another government economically. I think it sent the wrong message to China and the world that the EU and American Western system will try to crush you economically if you push them the wrong way. And when Biden said he doesn't know what's about to hit him, I know everything he does, he falls off the bicycle on. And I thought, oh my God, that's when I began to look at what are the assumptions he's making that are wrong, because he doesn't know what's about to hit Putin, what's going to hit us as a result of trying to do this. So real quickly, how does Putin went to gold, if I understand this correct? Can you explain to us
Correct.
what he did in his response to us trying to destroy his ruble?
Yeah, so first of all, the suggestion that Putin didn't have any idea what was going to hit him is an absolute nonsense. Putin has been preparing for Western sanctions since 2014, since the initial invasion of Crimea. As you say, a couple of ways he did it. Number one, boosting gold holdings. Russia now have the 6th largest gold holdings in the world. They're the 10th largest economy. Right? They reduced national debt in Russia to almost zero, all in preparation for Western sanctions. So this idea from Biden that Putin had no idea what was coming is just a nonsense. And, that's no surprise coming from this administration.
Hey, I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard so far. This is just a segment out of our entire podcast, but I'd love to give you access to the entire broadcast, and it's going to be at lancewallnau.com/podcast. Go there and you can sign up and get the entire unedited, uncensored message. I wrote a book and I talked about Haggai, the prophet, talking about God is going to shake all the nations, including economic systems. And then just recently I got challenged by a verse. It says, the silver is mine and the gold is mine. And I began to think, you know what? I'd hate to find out there was a promise and a warning here on silver and gold, and I never even thought about it. And that's the reason why I want you guys to do something right now. You want to get a 20-page special report on silver and gold. Go to lancewallnau.com/Birch, because Birch Gold is one organization that is being used by a lot of very credible people right now in order to position themselves with silver and with gold. You need to now start to look into this and learn what it is that maybe God was trying to say, that the silver is mine and the gold is mine. Go to lancewallnau.com/Birch and find out for yourself.